Hello everyone, this will be the continuation of Midoriya Izuku's Quirkless friend by ThatGhostOfADeer. This chapter is pretty short. This is chapter 3, titled, Where Will He Go? Tsukauchi Naomasa was hopeful. He rarely let himself be this hopeful, but he trusted Eraserhead to be a good influence on the kid. It's a shame he had to lie to him, or his version of lying, he figures. He couldn't tell the man the truth, the full truth, until Midoriya did. Midoriya Izuku, the boy with a nose for trouble and a knack for finding it. He ended up in Naomasa's office often before UA, usually because he was involved in one thing or another. Typically, it was people accusing him of stealing or disturbing the peace or whatever biased thing they could come up with. Midoriya rarely did anything to be considered bothersome, much less illegal. He had a heart of gold and a mind as quick as a whip if he bothered looking past his red boots. Naomasa saw the kid's potential, and if he hadn't made it into UA, or his dream of being a pro hero failed in some way, Naomasa had offered to help Midoriya be a detective. Midoriya had enrolled in those classes as soon as he could, fully believing he would never be a hero. He would have, just not in the professional sense. Then he met Toshinori, and suddenly Midoriya's life turned for the better. He was in UA, and he was on his way to becoming a great hero. He had great classmates that treated him well, and a teacher that actually cared about him. Naomasa looks at his phone on the coffee table. Eraserhead had seemed genuinely concerned for Midoriya's quirkless friend. Naomasa never liked lying, but he had promised Midoriya that who he was before and who he is now are two different people. The quirkless boy he was before died when given the quirk. The boy he was now was someone new, someone who was going to be a great hero, someone who didn't have a past connected to hatred and violence, someone happy. Naomasa was proud of him for it. He was so proud of this kid for achieving his dream, but he is also worried. As much as he wished what happened and is happening to Midoriya never did, he also doesn't want Midoriya to just erase his past as Toshinori had. He wouldn't wish what Midoriya had been through even on his worst enemies, but those experiences were part of what makes him Izuku. Midoriya promised he was never going to forget his past or the boy who had died forgotten, but he needed a clean slate. Naomasa wondered how long it would be before Midoriya recovered enough to reclaim his childhood. How long until the Midoriya he knew came back. This Midoriya hides behind false smiles and soft whisperings. The one he knew smiled small but true, and had a voice that, while quiet, was precise and bold. Naomasa stood up from his couch and went to his bookshelf. Next to old biographies and between true crime stories was a notebook. Midoriya had given it to him, an analysis on himself. A story told in tidbits and details. Everything about Midoriya was in that notebook. No other notebook was as extensive as this one, as far as Naomasa was aware. Every detail and trait about a quirkless person was written down. After reading the thing, one could argue that quirkless were significantly better suited to survive a world of unpredictability. Naomasa smirked at the thought of even the top heroes falling behind someone like a quirkless. Quicker reaction times and the power of a chemical called adrenaline, which quirked humans did not produce anymore. That was possibly what made All Might so unreachable, and why Midoriya is going to far surpass that threshold. A quirkless boy with a quirk. Who would have thunk it? He sets the book back down, knowing the absolute truth. Midoriya Izuku is going to change the world. He can say it out loud 1,000 times and it will always do one thing: register as truth. It always registers as truth. It makes Tsukauchi Naomasa hopeful. This is the conclusion of Chapter 3 of Midoriya Izuku's Quirkless Friend. Chapter 4 will be up soon. Thank you so much for listening.